Okay, so this next presentation is kidding around. I'm actually looking forward to this one. Kidding around, enhancing OPAC UX. Is it pronounced UX or user experience or what? How do you pronounce it? User experience. Okay, so enhancing OPAC user experience for young users with the children's theme plugin. And this is Barbara Glassford Johnson, Jason Robb, and Lucas Fox.
Hello again. So yes, we're going to be kidding around for this last presentation of the day. Last year at the koha-US 22 conference, Lucas did a presentation, and I think there were like 10 things that he focused on, of new things or different things. But anyway, the thing that stood out to me was the children's theme plugin, and I thought that is something I would really be interested in having at our library. And then I told myself, you've got too much to do. You can't just jump into this and start abandoning all these other projects. So I set it to the side. And then Jason started doing some work on it. And then once I saw what he was doing, it got me excited again. And I figured I had to go and do, start doing something on it. So I built off, Lucas did the plugin, Jason started doing work, and then I built off what Jason was doing. And we've had a lot of talk about features, and you'll see as we go into the presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to Lucas, and he'll tell you some stuff about the plugin.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm a developer at ByWater Solutions, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about how and why of this plugin. So why? At ByWater, we kind of saw a need for a simple, easy to use plugin to replace what we were doing for children's OPACs, which was just a sort of complex series of CSS. But we wanted something simpler, easier, something that didn't need a system administrator to do, or could be administered by libraries and maintained and managed by them. Wanted something that libraries could define what a kid's collection was. We definitely wanted something that wouldn't affect the regular OPAC, so you could have another OPAC that was, as it always is, normal and not picking up any of the CSS or JavaScript from the kids OPAC. We wanted something that was accessible, something fun, something bright colors, accessible fonts, some simplified language for children. And we wanted something with the ability to inject your own CSS and your own JavaScript specifically for a kid's page or a kid's OPAC. And how is a plugin CSS and JavaScript? So it's a basic plugin. It's a lot like Gladrill, which is the OPAC design plugin with a lot of stuff stripped out. So if you install the plugin, you get a bunch of CSS and JavaScript that I wrote right out of the box. We also then turn off the OPAC user CSS, the OPAC user JS, so that doesn't interfere. And then we use JavaScript to sort of limit by the things you don't want in your kid's OPAC. So we hide a lot of stuff with CSS, and then based on item types, collection codes, and shelving locations, we allow you to decide what you want in that plugin or in your kid's OPAC. It was initially designed around 3 sort of very simple pages with a lot of OPAC features hidden. The OPAC homepage, the results page, and the details page. And so about 2 years ago, just put all that together, designed that, and put it out there and had a few libraries using it. And these guys heard my presentation last year and kind of made it a lot better than what it was initially. So I'll turn that over to Jason to talk about a little bit.
Can I skip through this? Let's see. So for us, this is sort of what Lucas was talking about. I just wanted to say, like, for us, we came at this as something we really wanted to do in conjunction with the People Project. So our libraries are coming up with the family engagement. We're giving out grants to develop those spaces. So for me, I wanted like something that could go on the iPad that a little kid could come up to and push buttons on, basically. So that was sort of what stimulated us into action on playing around with this. We already kind of talked about all of this, right? This is what the plugin looks like after you install it, and then Lucas had this to show for what you have to do in the Apache to make it work. So if you're wanting to set this up, you can't just go out and download the plugin and it works. If you're a ByWater customer, Lucas can get it set up for you, easy peasy. If you're not a ByWater customer, then you probably understand what this is. But if not, I'm sure you can reach out and you can let you know. I'm just gonna keep skipping for you here. This is Barbara's setup. I didn't put a screenshot of my setup in here because all mine is limited to is one collection code. So I'll let Barbara talk about her complicated setup.
It looks complicated, but basically you can, after the plugin is installed, you're get a URL, a specific URL for your kids' OPAC. And then you can limit your collection depending on how you need. So I know, Jason, you use collection codes and he had just a couple maybe. And so when I looked at it, I thought, well, that's not how we are set up. I don't have something to limit my collection code where my juvenile collection comes in are all in specific shelving locations. And I have like 55, 60, I don't know, I have a ton of them. So I realized, okay, I'm gonna have to put in every juvenile shelving location in order to make it work. And so it does look complicated, but it actually works just fine. And then I also did have in there limit to the following eye types, which I'm not sure I really needed that because I also had the shelving locations, but it works. So basically it's just a combination of all these kind of concepts. It's got fun images, kid-friendly images. It uses bright colors. There is a large search input box with a big search button. So it's very obvious. This is where you would put something in. The font is large and it's easy to read. There's large navigation buttons. There's lots of white space. There's a big start over button so you can get back to the main screen. And then the home page uses canned searches for popular subjects and genres. So this is showing, how do you get the little pointer thing on here, Rhonda?
There you go. That was it.
And second one. Down.
Yep, here you go.
There you go.
Where is it?
There it is.
Do I have to hold it? Okay. So this is just a portion of the large search box. We started using what we felt was more kid-friendly language. So instead of like search for books, movies, and blah, 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 it's look for. Instead of like just location, where can I find it? Here's a big start over button. And then when we get into a detail page, just more items like this and things like show me and sort. So just trying to use language that we felt would be better for kids. We'll show you a picture of how the plugin started. And this is gonna show you, as we went through kind of talking about this, Jason found, do you want to talk about your,
Yeah.
because you know more about how you found this?
I Google, no, actually, it was Google searching, like I was looking for, I wanted consistent images on the little icons that the buttons you push. So I started looking at emojis, because obviously that's gonna be a consistent set of pictures. And I started with the Twitter emojis because those are open source, but I didn't really like how it looked. And then I found that these Microsoft Fluent emojis were also open source. And I put the GitHub down there, so that's what we're using, because they're a little more substantial than the Twitter emojis were. So that's how we landed on that. I can talk about the next one too. So fonts and colors. So I think I picked out the font too. So I did a little searching. So I think we maybe started with some Comic Sans, and I'm not gonna be a font snob, but I really like this font that I found. So Lexend is a Google font, which means it's easy to implement because it's out there. And it was actually originally designed for dyslexia. So, and perfect for kids, right? But perfect for everybody. So, and it looks really good. I mean, it looks like it fits in the kids OPAC. So really that was the reason behind it. I mean, I kind of just stumbled upon it, but it turned out looking really good. So that's what we've been playing with as far as the main font. We still have there's another Google font that we're using for the more stylized text, which you'll see, which is one that Lucas had picked out initially. And then we also wanted to keep accessibility in mind. So at all points in this, like we want to make sure that it's colorblind friendly as much as possible. And we wanted to make sure that the fonts were working for everyone. So did a little research on the color palettes. There's some that I found. We're running on different colors now, but they're pretty similar. But I've been running tests with the colorblind plugin to make sure that you can at least tell what's going on the screen at all times, whether you have color blindness or not. So this is what you get out of the box. So if you were to get the plugin set up, this is what it would look like. You want to say anything else about that?
All I will say is that I picked these things sort of off of Google open source icons as well, like Jason colors saying. I just wanted simple, very simple colors when I started, but everything that Jason and Barbara have done has been a vast improvement on this, from fonts to colors to icons.
Okay, so now we're gonna.
So this is just to show you, this is the picture of Bedford's regular OPAC. And this is a screenshot of the kids catalog as it is right now. So there's that large search box, the big search button. And then we ended up with more icons on our home page than Jason did. I think both of us have some of them are very similar. We kind of looked at what are the categories that are most popular with kids. So some of the ones we both have are animals, bedtime, dinosaurs, friends, princesses, superheroes. Those seem to be pretty standard kinds of things that kids are really interested in. Of course, you can't represent everything, but so that's how it started. I think I have 25, which only 20 are showing here. And you have 15, I think, on your homepage, and you'll see that in a moment. And then as I was going through this, my youth staff, one of the reasons I got back into this is my youth staff was wanting me to put labels on the spines of children's book for just about everything a children's book could represent. So if it's a series, it's got a number of the series. If it's and it's got the name of the series on the spine, and then they want to have, if it was a book on bedtime, they want that on the spine. And if it's a mystery, if it's a mystery about bedtime, then they want both of those on the spine. And I said, I'm not willing to do that. So it got me thinking back to having seen this presentation, and I thought, okay, what if we create canned searches for those other things that you're looking for? So that's why we ended up with more icons to represent some different searches. So we've got, adventure stories, fantasy fiction, historical fiction, mystery. So those are some of the different ones that we ended up with.
So this is my homepage, vanilla OPAC. We don't use Aspen or anything, so this is what my people get. Thanks. And then this is what my kid's homepage looks like right now. Some of the main differences, as Barbara noted, we've only got the 15 icons because I wanted everything to be visible on an iPad, without having to scroll. Because there's ours is more scoped towards the littles. We want the smaller kids to be able to use it, and there's the whole object permanence thing. If they don't see it, they don't realize it's there. So that's kind of how we paired it down to. Our categories were a combination of our genreification standards, and then I did some data analysis. So I ran reports on what was most popular subject wise and pulled those subjects out into my searches. So gamer isn't part of our genreification, but that was the Minecraft stuff was the most checked out stuff. So I wanted to actually definitely have a button for that. And we did put links to both of our test OPACs in the slides. So if anybody wants to go and play with it, feel free. And then on the results page, the results are sort of a 2-card column thing, and Lucas mentioned when we were talking about this, he was trying to make it look like a trading card. So that's sort of how the results play. There's large images with the show the format of the item, and that's pulling from the same thing as your vanilla OPAC, your regular OPAC is pulling from one of the control fields where you're getting a little image of a book. Again, kid-friendly language. The series is more stylized in the search results, and then so it's more like a button. And again, everything that I was trying to do was touch oriented, so I wanted to make sure that everything was big, so you could hit it with your fat finger, and not hit the wrong thing. And then filtering options, we'll talk about that too. I just realized Barbara has notes about this. Did you want to talk about anything else here?
Not sure what my notes say. Let's see. There was a lot of information that might be on your standard OPAC that was removed. And we may have differences in what displays, but even in our general OPAC, we don't show the RDA information. Maybe we don't show an addition or something like that. So some information has been pulled out. So this is just an image of a standard title in our regular OPAC and what it looks like for Bedford. And this is what a search looks like, just 2 of the cards for the search for animals. So you can see that it's got the image and, nice big title showing there. The one here on the right has that big find more in this series here. So you could click on that or touch on that. A nice big, where can I find it? So not just the word location or something for shelving location or whatever you might be using in your catalog, but just more of the way a kid might think, where can I find it? And also the question mark, maybe it's leading you there. We have ours set up so that you can place holds on items. That's how it came out of the box with being able to place holds, and then there was some discussion back and forth, and you ended up not putting the holds in yours, so we've got some differences there. It's got the large navigational buttons there at the top, back, and next. It did not come out of the box with the relevance. Let's see, where's that button? The relevance here or the filtering here. As I had my librarians testing it, they came back to me and said, well, but what about if we want to, sort it by title? And don't you think some patrons are going to want to do that? Don't you think some kids are going to want to do that? So we put that back in, and then we created a sort of pared down, I guess you'd say, filtering, called it show only. And we've only got it to filter by author, item type, and series and collection, I guess, and we took out some of the others. Okay. And
so again, this is just what the search results look like in my regular OPAC. And this is what the direction I went with it. And I didn't get updated screenshots in here, but it doesn't even look like this anymore. So if you do get a chance to take a look at it, please do. It's similar though. So instead of, I wanted to keep things like iPad friendly again. So I didn't really want the things on the side that Barbara had. So I put my sort up here, and I went down a rabbit hole about search parameters and how do you pull out keywords and rebuild your searches, and it works. Yay! I only lost a few days. And then I started to do the same thing with shelf locations, because we want to be able to filter some shelf locations so we can get just picture books or just the easy readers or whatever. Didn't work. So I kind of backtracked, and all of that stuff that's in your vanilla OPAC is still there underneath, it's just hidden. So I just started pulling stuff from that side menu up into these buttons. And the current state of it is the colors are a little different. I've got hovers on these, so there's more like responsive, and then I got rid of the X and put the word clear there, so it was more clear. One thing that I want to add more to is more of his icons, so that like even if the kid can't read, they still sort of understand. And I think I've changed some other, like, I know it took me a while to get this period to be an exclamation point, but it was really important. It was really important to be excited about how many search results. And yeah, so just little things like that, and there are other things I will think of, but that's sort of where I'm at with it right now. We haven't actually launched it yet, so we're still just on the test server, but I'm hoping to get it in front of some actual real people, real little people, by the beginning of October. And this is just pointing out that emphasized series availability again. And then, did you want to talk about this?
And I wanted to say too, back on this page, I don't know if I have that exclamation point, so I need to see if I need to find and add that. And then after I added the filter back on the left-hand side, which I really didn't want to do, but my staff really wanted. And then Jason came up with this. So now after he gets this perfected, I'm going to go and switch it to this because I think this is much better. I had to do a lot of finagling to get the filter to show on the left and then have the two card view. And I think it may not always display the best on some mobile devices. And I really kind of didn't want to do it, but they really wanted it. I think this will be so much better. So I'm planning that. And then yes, series. And then on the detail pages, you've got an enhanced list of the similar titles, which is really cute. They're all displayed. I'll show you in a minute. They're all displayed already. You don't have to click on anything in order to see these similar titles. The display again is kind of pared down. It may not have as much information, and it's really simple navigation. I think in ours, let's see, we removed the ISBN, the edition, the print button, anything about purchase suggestions, saving records. We removed all of those things, just trying to make things really simple. And then go ahead and go to the next screen. So this is one of my favorite children's books in the world. And anyway, this is what it looks like in our regular catalog. And this is what it looks like in the children's catalog. So here you've got the more items, and they're already displayed out there. So, you know, kids and parents can already see. They don't have to click on something to move through. Oops, what did I do? They don't have to click through. And then let's see, you've got a back to results button here so that you could go back to your results page. You've still got your big start over, which would also take you back to the very beginning. And Jason.
So yeah, just some shark adjacent detail screens here. Again, this isn't my most recent screenshot. So the most of this is the same as Barbara's. I made the author's name really small on those because I didn't think it was as important. In my updated version, I put this in a pill shape like these are and put an icon there just to emphasize that a little bit more on the more like this part of it. And then I did like some different color stylings on the previous back necks when you hover just to make it more fun.
I want to do that exclamation.
That one I didn't do. That one I think. Okay, and then as Barbara mentioned, mine's really like pared down. I don't do anything with the patron account yet. I'd like to create like more of a shopping experience where they're like placing holds in a shopping cart and stuff. But I haven't had time for that. So mine's just hidden all that stuff.
So we currently do have the ability for holds to be placed, and so once you tried to place a hold, the features out of the box, you didn't really have a lot of the patron account stuff either maybe available or styled yet. So we went through and found all the places where we needed to turn text from like black to white to look good on the blue background. And to not get, once I placed the hold, you log into your account, and then I couldn't log out because those features were disabled because it wasn't fully featured on the patron account, because that was kind of in thoughts as to like, are we gonna allow holds or are we not? So it hadn't been developed as far as actually going through the whole placing of the whole process. So I went and found the places that kind of needed some extra styling. And then Lucas and I were talking one day, and we were talking about the login here. And in the standard OPAC, you just have the little person icon. And so we started talking about, well, how fun would it be to, you know, customize that somehow and make it fun for kids. And so my first thought was like a wise owl, and, you know, use one of the fluid emoji icons and put the owl in there, which I did. But it was a brown color and it just kind of didn't go with our theme. And at Bedford, we have every spring we hatch chickens in the youth department. So I found a little cute chicken coming out of the egg, and so we're using that. It's still a little blurry and it needs to be cleaned up, but it looks pretty cute on the screen, so I'm pleased with it for now, but it needs a little improvement. So this is the patron account, so it's been really pared down. The only thing you see are the 3 buttons there. And the summary is just basically showing what's checked out and any holds. And then they can see history there, but everything else about the patron account has been removed. And then this is just to show this is a view of an iPad in portrait mode. And this would be the home page, so the icons, you know, change and fill the spaces they need to. And then it becomes a 1 column layout there. And then we went ahead and put it on our OPACs in the children's department. My staff was ready for it. I told them it's got some issues still, it's not complete, that they wanted to go ahead and do it, so we got it out there. I did sort of want to get it out there because I wanted to get some feedback for this presentation. And so far we've had, it is so cute. The first day, or maybe it was the day after that it was out there in the kids department, they told me, because I was telling them I want to know any feedback you get, good or bad, and they said that this dad had his little one, you know, holding him, had enough little bit of language, but basically, you know, when he saw the icons on the screen, the dad said his little boy just pointed at the picture of the dinosaur, and he knew immediately, okay, that's the thing we're looking for. It's going to be the dinosaurs. And then one of our staff basically said, this is so great, you know, that the staff is going to want the regular catalog to look like it. And I'm like, oh, no. One thing at a time. Let's see. And then things we're still working on. So the limits that we set up in the screen, that was the configuration where I'm using shelving locations and Jason's using collection codes, all of those things from the key-in searches on the home screen will limit to the however you have defined your children's youth collection. But if you click on a link for an author or a subject, right now it's not limiting to. So if you've got an author like James Patterson, who is writing some children's materials, if you click on James Patterson, not only do you get those, but you're getting his adult materials as well. And that's not what we want, but we're working on that. If you enter a search in the search box, again, James Patterson, you may get all of his work. So that's not quite limiting at the moment. Clicking on, we've got novelist enabled on it. So if you click on a link within the novelist data, that is not limiting to the children's collection. Jason reported that the back button on search results is broken. So that's something that we're working on. And then I was wanting here in here, I was wanting like one of those clear search type buttons that you could just go ahead and click on that or touch on that, and it would wipe out your search. This is a nice way that you wouldn't have to put the cursor in and either highlight or backspace or whatever. And I think that's it. Do you have anything to add?
I'll just say that this is like, if this is something that's interesting to you, if you want to play with Koha in this manner, the web dev sig is a great place. It's usually just us 3 and we're usually talking about this. So it's a great place to talk about like jQuery CSS enhancements. And yeah, that's it, I think. If you have suggestions for us, I think we'd be happy to try and make things work. So like we said, you're gonna get it, what you saw the first slide showing it is what you get out of the box, but if you want some of our custom code, I've got mine on GitHub if you want to play with it, and I'm sure Barbara would be willing to share hers as well. And I know Lucas is always working on sort of slowly integrating what we've done into the plugin itself, so you wouldn't actually have to use all of our custom code. So, and we're happy to answer questions.
And one more thing I wanted to say is that I think this is a great thing about Koha, because I can look to a person like Jason and Lucas who know so much more than I do, and I can look at it and sort of figure out maybe what they've done and repurpose it a little bit. I'm not creating stuff necessarily from scratch, but I can look at it and get enough out of it to say, well, maybe I want that to be, different wording. And so I can see how I can go in and change the jQuery and make that different. And so it's a real collaboration, and you can still customize it to what you want and learn from what others are doing. And I just think that's a great thing about Koha. Any questions?
There are a couple of online comments. Heather Hernandez says, "This is super cool!" Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And this is fantastic. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think they actually commented more exclamation points. Okay, any other questions? All right.
Thank you.